Good evening, everyone. Let's get right to breaking news and new information in that brazen daytime shooting in downtown Portland.
We have now learned the suspect, the man you see here, Jeffrey Hammond, appeared in court a short time ago. According to court records, he admitted to shooting one man in the chest and a second man, a bystander, in the leg.
We have live team coverage of these breaking developments. Thomas Schultz in the neighborhood that is still feeling the effects of that gunfire Wednesday afternoon.
But first, we go to our Alma McCarty outside the Multnomah County Courthouse with the very latest on the suspect. Alma?
Well, David, Laurel, that suspect is 47-year-old Jeffrey Hammond, and he appeared before a judge for the first time this afternoon. This after police say he shot two people in the middle of a busy downtown Portland.
Hey, 17, line 1, last name Hammond versus Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Hammond's court arraignment over in just a matter of minutes Thursday afternoon.
Please not guilty as to all counts.
The 47-year-old Portland man faces murder and attempted murder charges after prosecutors say he gunned down two people, killing one in downtown Portland Wednesday.
I had heard what I thought was the sound of like the Macs on the rails because it just sounded like some popping noises.
According to prosecutors, Hammond was parked at 10th and Alder, partially blocking the road around 4:30 p.m. The victim in the shooting, identified as Ryan Martin, then walked up to Hammond's car window because of the way he was parked, and the two started shouting at each other. That's when investigators say Hammond fired a single shot, striking Martin in the chest.
I looked over to see what was happening, and that's when the driver of the shooter lifted up the gun and he shot him. And the gentleman fell to the ground.
Prosecutors say video shows Martin laid on the ground bleeding for more than a minute, pleading with the shooter. They say Hammond tried to shoot Martin a second time, but the gun malfunctioned. Prosecutors said Hammond told Martin, "You're lucky I didn't shoot you in the head."
And they were looking for a doctor, so I ran around screaming, "Is there a doctor?" I ran into Jake screaming, "Is there a doctor?" It was taking forever for the emergency people to come. And then I just sat there and held his hand, and he passed.
After shooting Martin, prosecutors say Hammond fired two more shots. One struck a man who was attending a conference for minority architects. Prosecutors say he had just walked out of the nearby Moxie Hotel and was recording the incident when Hammond aimed the gun directly at him and fired.
I just generally get concerned about the safety of our city or of our country with guns just kind of running around.
Martin died from his injuries. The second victim was struck in both legs but is expected to survive. According to court documents, Hammond founded a financial company in Portland that went bankrupt earlier this year. He owned 4 guns and lived in the West Hills. Under a different name he used in the past, documents reveal he had a criminal history in Illinois, including charges of assault and vandalism.
My reaction is one of sadness.
Portland's new police chief, Bob Day, was sworn in just hours before the shooting.
It truly breaks my heart to see the pain and the messaging yesterday as I sat in my office, wrapping up my first day on the job, and to see and hear the call come out, and just know the harm that perpetuates in the beliefs of many.
Now, prosecutors also said in these court documents that Hammond called 911 himself shortly after the shooting. He also admitted to shooting both men and believed he was justified in doing so. However, police dispute that, saying they have lots of video of this shooting incident and nothing suggests that it was legally justified. Back to you.
Such a disturbing story in so many ways. Thank you, Alma. We continue our team coverage now with Thomas Schultz near the scene of Wednesday's shooting.
And Thomas, as these new details emerge here, I cannot imagine they're going to put anybody at ease. What have you been hearing from folks in the neighborhood there?
Yeah, David and Laurel, people I've spoke to today say they're becoming more frightened to be down here. They say sirens are becoming all the more common, and they don't know what's in store for Portland's future.
It was just chaos.
Naomi Lake had just landed in Portland for her nephew's wedding. When she tried to check into the Moxie Portland Hotel, she was greeted by police.
And they wouldn't let us come in the front door, and there was police tape everywhere, and they wouldn't let us come in because it was an active crime scene.
Thursday morning, Moxie staff were busy repairing and covering broken windows. and their visitors are seeing Portland in a different light after 3 downtown homicides over 4 days.
I've been here before and I really enjoyed it, but now I don't know if I want to stay down here.
Do we have to close the business? Are we safe down here? So.
Workers are anxious too.
What am I risking, coming down here every day to work?
Jordan Hyder has worked down the street at Wildfang for a year. She's gotten used to hearing sirens.
We just heard a whole bunch of patrol cars, ambulance, but that's just a normal day down here.
At first, she thought nothing of the noise, though that's changed.
It just makes me a little more uneasy.
Still, despite the nearby shooting, Hyder says she's optimistic for the future of downtown.
I think that we have a good group that really want to, get people back into the area. But every day it's like, what am I gonna see? What's gonna happen? It's making me a little more uneasy traveling down here every day. So.
A little more uneasy, like many living or visiting Portland.
I mean, I don't want to scare tourists away, but it kind of scared me, being a tourist.
And as a visitor, Lake says this is her last time staying down here. In the future, she says she plans to stay outside of downtown, something many are already doing. David, Laurel.
Thank you, Thomas, for the latest developments on this story, including the full details about what we've uncovered about the suspect in this case. Go to KGW.com and follow us on social media.
To get to your other headlines now, within the last hour, we have learned that police have arrested a suspect in connection with a fatal shooting over the weekend in Gresham. Police say they found 42-year-old Justin Graver shot dead in a parking lot Saturday night at 182nd and Powell. This afternoon, investigators arrested 31-year-old Devin Rose on suspicion of second-degree murder. Rose was booked into the Multnomah County Jail.
The pastor of a former Beaverton church has been indicted on multiple counts of sex abuse against underage girls in his congregation. 39-year-old Christopher Pruitt was arrested last week. Police say the alleged abuse of 2 girls happened while Pruitt was pastoring Our Father's House Ministries Church, which he operated out of his home in Beaverton before moving to North Portland. Detectives believe there may be more victims. Contact Beaverton Police if you have any information.
A former U.S. Olympian turned equestrian coach has now been sentenced for sexually abusing a student. 63-year-old Richard Fellers of Sherwood will spend 50 months in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. The victim was 16 years old when this abuse began. Fellers is also facing similar charges in a state case involving the same student. He competed as an equestrian in the 2012 Summer Games.
Multnomah County's chair announced an emergency order today allotting $62 million for homeless services. This means for the first time some Portland day centers are getting county money so they can expand their services ahead of Portland's daytime camping ban enforcement. It's supposed to be enforced very soon. Each organization that receives money will be required to track how it is spent and report that back to the county.
And Oregon Speaker of the House is looking to become its next Attorney General. Democrat Dan Rayfield of Corvallis announced he is running in the November election. 2 Republicans have also entered the race. Newburgh attorney Will Lathrop, Robert Newman of Baker County. Rayfield, a defense attorney, was elected to the House in 2014 and was chosen as Speaker last year. Current AG Ellen Rosenblum does not plan to run again. Matt?
Thanks so much, David. Boy, what a day. Started out foggy, ended up sunny and warm, and look at the sunset that's just about to happen to the Oregon coast. This is Cannon Beach, of course, just absolutely stunning weather all around the state, especially in western Oregon during the day today. So the clouds are coming back tomorrow. It'll be gradual. They'll fill in as the day goes on, and we're going to get some rain Friday night. However, it's not going to be the early week rain that we had, meaning that it won't be very heavy. It'll be light, scattered showers, basically. And we get a clear sky overnight tonight, too. So that's our top headline there. Clouding up tomorrow, but still warm. We will still make the 70s tomorrow, so that'll feel good. And then we have showers Friday night, chance of showers again Saturday night and Sunday night. It seems like at night, but none of it is very heavy. None of it's heavy until we get into Monday. Then we'll go back into a soaker. So here's the forecast for tomorrow. Partly cloudy in the morning. By noontime, we're 64. We'll top out at 72. In spite of the sprinkles that are on the way later tomorrow. Sunrise at 7:24, sunset at 6:28. Now, the days, of course, continue to contract, and we'll talk more about the eclipse weather a little bit later on, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Matt. Marion County is the latest Oregon county taking steps to repeal Measure 110. That's the voter-approved effort that decriminalized hard drugs in the state.
But how far can county actions really go here? Ashley Grams takes a closer look.
We have more people suffering from drug addiction, overdose. Our communities are suffering, and Measure 110 just is failing.
Marion County Commissioner Colm Willis joined a chorus of voices calling for the repeal of Measure 110.
The promise of Measure 110 was that by decriminalizing drugs, more people will get treatment, fewer people will die of drug overdoses. That is not the case.
On Wednesday, commissioners listened to public testimony. That included the county sheriff, nearly all of the speakers asking for change.
Well, a resolution is a message with purpose.
The board passed a resolution joining Polk, Jackson, and Coos counties in an effort to scrap the law that decriminalized hard drugs after it was passed by voters in 2020.
What we're asking in this particular resolution is for the legislature to act.
Though any action or impact wouldn't likely happen right away.
A set of opinions. The counties have no direct connection into getting legislation into the legislature itself.
Jim Moore is a politics professor at Pacific University, and he says the county's best hope for change is to lobby and hope that a state legislator takes up the fight in the form of a bill.
Oh, if the legislature wants to bring it to the voters, the legislature can do that, or the legislature can simply change things because it's a statute.
Bethel says it's time for the state to include more voices.
The legislature for far too long has not brought counties to the table to say, what are you experiencing and what do you need?
So while many Oregonians are calling for change, that decision ultimately falls to the state, and the state legislature meets again February of 2024 for a short session. Reporting in Salem, I'm Ashley Grams, KGW News.
Coming up on The Story, researchers at Oregon State think they have finally solved a mystery.
Our environmental reporter Cale Williams has a preview.
Since 2019, gray whales have been enduring what experts call an unusual mortality event. Hundreds of emaciated whales have washed up on West Coast beaches all the way from Mexico to Alaska. But today, new research from Oregon State professor Josh Stewart has found the likely cause. The data shows shrinking sea ice in the Arctic has had a significant impact on the animals gray whales feed on.
We know that the resources that gray whales are relying on to feed, to make a living, to reproduce, etc., are already heavily impacted by climate change and will continue to be increasingly impacted by climate change.
We'll have much more for you, including why the new study isn't all doom and gloom, coming up next on The Story.
And you won't